It's time for the Podketeer podcast.
Good morning, Christopher Robin.
Oh, good morning, Winnie the Pooh.
Oh, well, glad to meet you. Name's Tigger. T-I-double-G-R. That spells Tigger.
Now, isn't this a clever disguise?
It's time for the Podketeer podcast with your hosts, Mark Tanner and Melody Clark.
This could be about anything. And if you're like me, you'll wait and see. For I've got curiosity.
Hey, everybody. We got guests. Melody, introduce our guests.
We have my old friend, Debbie Smith Doughty, and her husband, Paul Doughty. Debbie is she's done about everything. She is a graphic novel and comic publisher and writer. And before that, she wrote for television. She has some of the best stories you'd ever want to hear.
Thank you.
She worked for a time for the famous, infamous Dan Curtis of Dark Shadows fame. I say famous, infamous because even though he's a little infamous, most of us loved him. And Paul has a vast background, mainly in computer and consulting and programming and that sort of thing. And what's most important, what's that?
And carpentry.
And carpentry. And most important is that they're both Disney fans, and they're joining us to talk about D23, which
because they went.
Yes. Welcome, guys.
Thank you.
Okay, let's hear the experience. How did it open? How did it progress? And what were your initial impressions? Either of you.
Here's proof that we were actually there.
Oh, there you go.
You know, I do have to say they made it very easy to get in and out. We didn't go right at the opening hour because that's crazy. You know, we would arrive like a half an hour later, and you know, you walked right in and you had to go through security. There was a lot of security. Don't try to take food in. They confiscate all the food. They look through all your backpacks, all your purses, and that food goes out. You know, I didn't bring food, thank goodness, but it's really hard for people like me who eat every couple of hours. You know, you know, so you're not allowed to take in any food. But they made it very easy to get in and out. You had to scan your badge, right? Did we have to scan our badge? Yeah.
So you didn't spend the night there. So
we had an RV. No, you mean sleeping?
You didn't
outside?
have to get in. You didn't stay in the underground rooms because you were there when they did that. I'm sure you probably did it at least 1 year where they kept you on those lines in the rooms.
Well, they changed the rules so you can't line up before 6 a.m. They'll run you off.
You know, it used to be that people were lining up like 3 a.m. or whatever.
Oh yeah, I was there at midnight 1 year, the first year I think.
Yeah, those lines were just incredible, and they're not like that anymore. So they really move people in and out a lot easier. And it was crowded, so it's not like, you know. But there were lots of doors, and the way that you get in now, you know, you go in through gates that aren't near the doors. So, and then they have the cubicle set up where you take your own program and you get your own lanyard, you know, for your badge and everything. So, you know, it's just more efficient, and you get in and out. You just scan your badge and you're in.
Yeah, there were 3 entries that you could go through. One out on one in front of the convention center, one out to the north, and then if you know the convention center on the south side, there's a little circle you can come in, and that's where they had all the ride share and handicapped. Anybody who needed assistance could go that place, and then that was an interest there. So they were, so basically you'd scan in your pass. This has an RFID chip in it. Scan it in, then you go through security and you're there. And the halls are wide open after that. Everything inside, once you get in, after a scan and a search, everything's out there is open to you. And it's a lot of fun.
How was the vendor room? It was kind of light the first 5 or 6 years.
Well, in this one, they have a section in the A hall that's actually, you or I could be an exhibitor there and sell whatnot.
And they're mostly sold pens and, Disney pens.
All things going on there, all kinds of memorabilia and everything.
Yeah.
It's a lot of fun just to look at that stuff because a lot of it's from way back. It's almost like a snapshot of Disney archive for sale. But it was a lot of fun. Everything else is different divisions, groups within Disney. They all seem to be there with their own pavilions, which is a lot of fun. Because
there was Mickey's of Glendale, and there were 2 Mickey's of Glendales, one for pens and one for merchandise. The one for pens, you had to have reservations to get in. They did those virtual lines where you had to get up at 4 a.m. and
they were. You could get in the virtual queue at 4 a.m. and then at 1 p.m. So
and that's what replaces those big long lines.
Yeah, which is good because I can't stand in those big long lines. But,
yeah.
And then
I remember the first year they had the Dream Store. It was a mess.
Right.
They weren't set up for the crowds that they got.
The second and third years were the same way, and then they changed. Now it's, you have the Disney store, you have the Disney, what used to be the soda fountain has their store. You have the Disney Experience, which is all the other stuff. So there's like a half a dozen different stores there selling stuff. And one of the big things to do at D23 is to be there first. Buy lots of the dolls and other things and put them up on eBay.
And they have made it now that you can only buy one of the collectibles. So people bring like 16 people, like they're in their family.
Yeah, they managed to get us, groups. I think you could do 4 at a time when you were getting your reservations. But yeah, everybody get online and get as many as they can because they knew it was going to be one only of each thing. But in the past, you could get,
you can buy as many as you want the first year.
Yes, it was true.
They've done everything they can to cut down on that.
Well, the main rule that they put in was if you're a Magic Keyholder and they catch you doing that, buying stuff at the park and selling it on eBay, they can take your pass away from you.
Yeah. Yeah.
I haven't ever heard of them doing it. I haven't heard of them doing it, but they can do it.
Yeah.
At the parks and stuff, it used to be that you could buy collectible stuff in downtown Disney. And they really cut back on that because of people coming in and buying it and selling it. Well, you have to go into the park now to get a lot of the collectible stuff.
Remember where that Japanese restaurant, I don't know, Chinese or Japanese restaurant that Ding some or other, and that market that they're building, that's where the AMC Theater used to be. Well,
yes.
Before it was the AMC Theater, it was a big, like a collectible shop that sold posters and all sorts of stuff. I bought a present for my wife there, an autographed picture of Lucille Ball.
Wow.
and they had all sorts of neat. But that's like 2 generations gone. So
Yeah, yeah, because we used to go to that. We used to go, I Melody knows this. I was sick and I was on oxygen, and I would go to Disneyland, but I didn't have the stamina to do like a full day at Disneyland. So what we would do is we would go to Disneyland, and then we would come out and go to a movie so I could sit and rest, and then we would go back to Disneyland and
that was a cool idea.
So
Yeah.
that's what we would. Yeah, and so we really miss the AMC theater.
Yeah, because that was when we were always pass holders for a decade or so.
When we lived in California, and we went every weekend practically.
Yeah,
Well, I was
so
an annual pass holder for 17 years.
Yeah, us. Yeah.
Yeah,
Us
And
too.
I've had a key for the last 2 years. My daughter was a cast member, so she used to sign me in between.
uh-huh.
She was
Yeah,
a jungle boat skipper.
Yeah,
Oh, that's
pandemic
cool.
came. The pandemic came, and Bad Bob changed all that. But we're
Yeah,
back
I
to
mean-
Good Bob, so maybe they'll get that figured out.
So we live in Las Vegas now, which is only 4 hours away, and so we kept our passes when we moved here, because we would still make that 4-hour drive and go down to Disney.
Yeah,
But then we lost our annual passes, and
yeah, back then if you went twice a year, that paid for the pass.
right.
Yeah.
What that
And
would
so
have
now it's just not worth it for us.
Well, I go 60 times a year
Yeah, it's about
because
what I did.
I'm going to get my money's worth out of that $1,700 pass.
Oh yeah,
Exactly. I mean, Paul used to go without me, because, as I said,
pin
I was sick.
trading, pin release on Wednesdays.
He's a
Well,
big pin collector.
Now, being a pin trader, I have a question to ask you.
Sure.
Haven't you found that very few of those pins really went up in value?
No.
'Cause I've got a lot of rare ones that really don't seem to have gone up at all.
Well, I'm not having that problem. Let me show you where my pin collection is. And I've been selling them online and made about $4,000 or so far.
Wow.
But see, that's
Oh goodness.
That is not all of them. We lost
we
you,
lost
Paul.
Paul.
We lost you, Paul.
I think he pulled the cord out or something when he was turning
Yeah.
things around.
Yeah. You
Let me go
vanished.
tell him.
Paul. Okay. Well, Debbie is going in search of Paul. I will mention that Debbie is a hero when it comes to her health. She had a double lung transplant.
Oh, there's
And-
another lady in the group that had one.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Well, kudos to the lady in the group with the lung transplant. I hope you're doing as well as I am.
She's on oxygen. I've noticed she has an R2D2 rolling backpack that she keeps her oxygen supply
That's
in.
me. That was me.
Oh, there you
I
go.
had an R2D2.
Okay,
I
then it
called
must
it
have been a picture of you.
O2D2.
That was
Okay.
the picture I posted of her for her appearance. Yeah.
Oh, because somebody posted that in the group. Was that you?
Yeah, that was me.
Oh, okay.
I called it
Wow.
O2D2.
Then it was you. You had darker hair back then.
Yeah, I certainly did.
That's
Debbie's
why I thought
about,
it was somebody different.
Debbie's about my age, so we're in that we're the Dark Shadows generation.
Okay, I guess you need to add him again. Is he
Oh,
is he
okay.
in the back room?
You should be able to click on that link that we sent you.
Oh, he's not in the back room though, huh?
Oh, wait.
It says the host has to let him in.
Oh, yes, he does. Yes, he is.
There
Ah,
we go.
There he is.
sorry.
Welcome back.
I have stuff in here, and you guys are both down below my screen level, so I have to.
Do it again,
You-
Paul. You're not going to be able to do that.
Whatever he was doing, he should stop doing it.
Yeah, exactly. He was
He's
trying to
pulling the
show you
cord.
the pen collection, so I don't know. I'll just show you.
Well, we can see he's got a lot of pins. I have
Yeah,
a
he's
friend
got a lot of
mine-
pins, and like these are
Oh my
are
goodness.
are this is one of my lanyards. It's the Halloween. Can
Good.
you see any of these pins?
Yeah, oh yeah.
And this is one of my favorites though. It's on the opposite side, I guess. Yes, the Big Bad Wolf. I love the Big Bad Wolf. Can you see this? Yeah, there we go. Big Bad Wolf.
Yeah, those are amazing. Just the enamel art on those is it's
And I got
amazing how they
another
can
Big Bad
reproduce it. Yeah.
See, now I
And
have
my this is on my villains. You know me.
Yeah.
And villains.
Yeah, you
now I have
call
I have a pin to show you. There's Paul again.
I'm back.
Hi, Paul.
Here,
I'm
I
going
have
to
a
give
pin.
up on showing you that, but basically I have like
Oh, look at
18
that.
big folders.
Look at this pin. Look at this pin.
Cool.
Very
That is-
cool.
That was given away. They didn't even charge you on the opening day of Cars
Wow.
Land. So I got that.
I got no pins.
I
I do
whole
have my
shoe-
ice cream car.
I have a
Yeah,
whole
it's like-
shoebox of D23 pins.
Oh. We have a lot of D23 pens because we've been members for a long time. But
I
that
was a charter member, but I let it slip, so I'm no longer a charter member.
Too bad. But
yeah.
anyway, yeah, pins have increased in value because I got interesting ones like this little rocket to the moon thing,
Oh yeah.
or these kind of things. You know, there's people that kind of theme collect, and so they love this kind of stuff.
Yeah, I have
Well,
a friend
most
who
of-
only collects haunted mansion pins.
Yeah, and exactly, and that's why online they have a pin collection and selling, and people are really into it. And it's like your haunted mansion. Well, I have a bunch of haunted mansion. I would put it online. You see something you like.
Well, we have a lady in our group right now named Jasmine who is getting rid of her collection. So you might go to the group and take a look.
No.
No, I'm doing the same.
No,
thing.
Paul, don't do it, Paul.
Look,
No, I would get in too much trouble. I'm selling. I'm not buying. Not trading
this is
either.
Glendale pins. I wouldn't let him do that. However, at D23, go back to D23, like that segue, they had this, it was called the Pin Experience. And there were 10 places that you went to, and they gave you pens for free. And then you scanned it and you were, put into a lottery for prizes or whatever like that. So we got a series of pens. This is one of them. This was from the Descendants because they're doing something called Rise of the Red Queen. This is Abbott Elementary. Okay.
Oh yeah.
This is the Disney Channel. This was Disney Plus. And then I have a beautiful, but they're on my jacket. I have a beautiful pen from National Geographic that looks like the cover of National Geographic, and it has a penguin. Then it, and I actually sent you a picture of me with the penguins. Yeah,
Yeah, we're gonna show that in
National
a bit.
Geographic thing. And then we got a pen for Only Murderers in the Building as well, which is on my jacket too, because I love that show.
It's very nice.
So that was fun. But the downside of that was that everybody wanted to do it. And so their lines would get too long and the fire marshals wouldn't let them. They'd have to close their lines. And they would tell you to come back later. Well, people would mill around, okay? And then when they opened the line, they'd rush it. So Paul was using a walker because he was having back problems. like I said, double lung transplant, and I have some nerve damage from a terrible case of shingles I had in my leg. So we can't rush. And so, it was like people just rushing past you and almost knocking you down. And it was just terrible. And a lot of places like Good Morning America and I forget what else, maybe Disney Junior. I don't know. They ran out of pens, but you could still scan. So I just felt like the whole expo is so geared toward young people instead of those of us who have been fans since forever.
And the business model makes sense, but it's no fun for us.
Right.
We were just discussing that earlier.
We were just talking about the Disney commercial for D23. Here, let me play that real quick while we're all sitting here.
D23, are you ready?
Please welcome Bob Iger.
We have quite a weekend in store for you.
It's magical.
It's pretty fantastic.
Oh yeah, we spent many sleepless nights getting ready for this one.
This is like once in a lifetime experience. Come here and you are the coolest person. I think D23 is just so exciting to be in a big group of diehard fans.
There's something extra magical about a Disney experience.
It's really, really exciting every single year.
It's amazing.
Disney, Star Wars, Marvel, Pixar, National Geographic, cruise lines, the parks. This is the place you have to come at least once in your life.
D23 in Anaheim, it is bigger than ever before.
What is up, D23?
Welcome to the most magical showcase on Earth.
We're making Incredibles 3.
The bunny is back.
We're heading out to the Sea of Monsters.
D23!
Star Wars Skeleton Crew.
Diego Luna.
Captain America, Anthony Mackie.
Looking forward to the parks presentation tonight.
I've got a lot to share.
A whole new location on Pandora.
We are building a villain's land at the Magic Kingdom.
You all are going to experience the first suspended coaster ever at a Disney park.
It's Billy Crystal!
We are doubling the size of Avengers Campus.
Welcome to the Disney Legends Ceremony.
To quote the legend herself, this is the life.
It is an honor to stand alongside you.
You are the spark that ignites our imagination to create a new dream.
We love you, D23!
Wow.
A couple of the legends couldn't even climb the stairs.
We are not represented in that. I know. I was,
our age. The only people our age were the legends.
Exactly.
And it was very interesting at the Legends ceremony how many people had to have help getting up the steps. And it's like, what are you guys thinking? I mean, they should. I was thinking that they should have made somehow easier to get up those steps.
Well,
I mean, the steps didn't even have railings that you could hold on to.
In 2019, one of the legends that was inducted was James Earl Jones, and he couldn't even come because he was ill, and he did a video on there.
But some of those felt, well, the one is obvious. He's had every bone in his body broken at least once, and that Harrison couldn't even climb the stairs. So
he was there in 2019 also.
Yeah.
But because they inducted Carrie Fisher into the legend, so he was there to speak for Carrie Fisher, and so was Mark Hamill. He was there.
Yeah,
I have to say that Harrison Ford looked like he was so touched.
Emotionally overwhelmed by that.
He looked very overwhelmed, yeah. Yeah,
He's
really
a
cool.
nice man anyway. And
the best thing about the whole legend ceremony was there would be one person that was so important to that legend that would introduce them and speak about them a little bit. That was the best part of the show. And then
Jodie Foster was there. I was like beside myself when Jodie Foster walked out to honor Jamie Lee Curtis, because Jamie Lee Curtis,
apparently
and
they're
of course
best buddies,
And Lindsay Lohan also was there because they're doing Freaky Friday 3. So it was very, very cool. But the best speech, I thought, her name was Martha, and I don't remember her last name, but she was an African American woman who started low down, like the first African American hired to do whatever her job, and just worked her way up, and everybody absolutely loved her. And I can't tell you now what she said. I can just tell you I was so incredibly moved by her speech. And it was really very cool. It was cool to see that happen, yeah.
Yeah, it's those are the moments that's why they need to take care of the older folk, because we're the ones that have the history. And Mark was just saying that they have now taken off, or they are considering allowing them to close down any of the original Disneyland rides, and that none of them are protected, or that's at least on the
supposedly the statement was made to the Imagineers that they do not have to consider any ride untouchable.
Yeah, I heard that too at the expo, and that's okay, but maybe they ought to consider moving them to another park.
Yeah,
I mean, but if they tear down the Matterhorn, will it really be Disneyland?
That kind of leave Tinkerbell hanging in the air.
I mean,
well, they've gotten rid of Tinkerbell.
Oh yeah.
They consider Tinkerbell to be what was the word? Disrespectful to women. The way they draw her, they said.
Okay.
I know. Talk to women about that. But Mark and I went to a school where we saw the Matterhorn outside our schoolyard every day. And that was Disneyland. So I can't even imagine they're doing away with it. I mean, certainly.
And the cast has a basketball court inside.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, there is serious talk, I understand, about removing the submarines.
Yeah, I can see that. I can see them doing that. But, it's all really, to me, it's none of it should be untouchable. I'm all for letting the Imagineers imagine, because, they'll give us a new classic. Of course, their batting average on that isn't too good. If you look at California Adventure, that's had to pull 4 or 5 things they did over there.
But I have to agree with Paul, because especially like the submarines, which I loved before they turned it into, Nemo. Yeah, Nemo. But they're very difficult to get in and out of, those stairs and that sort of thing. I mean, even when I was young, they're very difficult to get in and out of. So, and you can only put so many people in, and I don't know. I have a nostalgic feeling for the submarines, but it's just like the People Mover. I loved the People Mover, but now they put the People Mover cars on display, and that gives me, so I think they should do the same thing, like with the submarines and, that sort of thing, put them on display and keep the memory of them alive, but they don't have to keep the ride alive.
In Paris, one of our favorite things was they actually have a full-size Nautilus.
That you can walk
Really
through,
cool.
take a tour through.
Well,
That was my favorite thing.
Wasn't that their submarine ride at one time?
That was.
I don't know.
Yeah. But the.
But it you can walk through it, and it has, it's a replica from the movie, the original movie, and it has Nemo's office, and it has the organ, it has the big window, and the squid attacks the window, and it's like, oh my God,
It's a reproduction of the organ, though. You know where the original organ is, right?
Oh, in the Haunted Mansion.
It's in the Haunted
the
Mansion.
Room of Ghosts. The party room.
Yeah, that display was originally in Tomorrowland back when the movie came out. I saw it when I was a kid because the squid used to scare me.
Oh, yeah.
They had a window with the squid behind it.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Yeah, that's what was
one of the things the executives are on record of saying is the new rides they're looking for or the ones that get a lot of people through fast. So, they want exciting rides, but, they want to move through hundreds an hour, 1,000 an hour, whatever. The higher it is, the better for them. And so some of those rides that you look at them where you're getting 2 people in at a time, they're trying to figure out how to do that better. So
yeah, which is, I guess, what they did with the rise of the, what is it called, Mark?
Rise of the Resistance.
Rise of the Resistance.
Yeah.
That has a good throughput. Supposedly, the Millennium Falcon has an even better one.
Oh, yeah, it's quick to go through there. And the Millennium Falcon, I don't know if you remember years ago, they redid Star Tours with whole new Star Tours film clips and worlds. And they're going to do the same thing to the Millennium Falcon now. They're going to get a whole another different trip. So when the 4 of you are in there flying through the universe, it's a it's actually something that's not connected to Galaxy Edge. It's from a different time. So that's going to be...
They're adding something from The Mandalorian.
Yeah, that's right. They're getting... And Grogu.
Yeah.
Wait, I want to go back to the Nautilus. Because at one of the D23s, I got this pen. Oops, wait a minute.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, cool. Yeah.
Very cool.
With this mug.
Yeah, I remember that.
It was a set.
Oh, very cool.
Isn't that cool?
Yeah.
But getting back to Grogu, this is my keychain.
Yeah, my nephew makes them.
Paracord keychain.
Did you see the Grogu they had on the table at D23?
We saw somebody who had one in their a little side basket kind of thing they were wearing, and he would move and blink and talk and say things.
The one they had on the table there was also like that.
Yeah.
I don't know if you do you guys know who Garner Holt is?
No, I don't know that name.
He's the one that does all the animatronics at Disneyland now.
Oh, yeah.
Disney doesn't do it anymore. They have his company do it.
Yeah, the company I think is Legacy Effects is one that does all the.
Might be, but it's owned by him. It's Garner Holt is the guy's name.
Legacy Effects had a lot of cool things.
we went to a Legacy practical effects demonstration.
Yeah, it was in the Industrial Light and Magic Pavilion.
Yeah, and so they were demonstrating how they did one of the characters from Mandalorian. I sent you a picture. And so the guy,
I saw that.
Okay, so the guy is moving the creature around.
Yeah, the puppeteer.
And all of a sudden he says, "I think it's smoking." And it was.
Then, they let all the smoke out.
So they had to turn it all off and shut it down. And they said, "Well, we weren't expecting this,
Yeah. So electronics, you let the smoke out, they don't work.
Well, I want to apologize. I don't have those photos ready to show. you have to convert them to PDFs to put them on here, and I got them too late.
Oh,
So
I'm sorry.
I'll post them in the group. When I
Okay, great.
load the podcast, I'll put the pictures in the group. Are you guys members of the group? Join.
No, I didn't even know you guys did this until she
We will be.
Yeah, we've got like
I posted something.
3,500 members, so it's
Oh
it's
my
getting
I'll
God.
send you the link, Deb.
Yeah.
Huh?
So
I'll
legacy
send you the
effects.
link.
So
Okay,
legacy
because-
effects after they did this
Yes.
session for us, with this puppeteer and how they made it, they went through the whole thing. How it's actually two masks. There's a mask that fits
On the person.
on her face, and then there's another mask that goes over that to give the mouth movements and all that. And it's an exceptional bit of work because they were limited to that space in between those two layers as to where they could put things to make the motion.
Yeah.
And the electronic engineer, the guy who actually put together the thing, he was talking to us, and he got so excited because his career has spanned where it started with, they took the radio controlled motors and such from RC planes and other things like that. And that's what they would use to do their animatronics. But then things started getting smaller and smaller and smaller. Now they're at the bleeding edge of tech to use the smallest little transducers and, everything in there is just bleeding edge. They keep their eye out on everything going on in the world of electronics and motors and everything else.
No matter what it is, whether it's for medicine or
and he's
whatever.
just so thrilled to have lived through that point, that change. And so we're going to see amazing things from legacy effects in the future. It's truly odd. But after we did that demonstration, it was so cool. They let us get back in line, and their ILM's pavilion really was they had set up the volume. The volume is this huge thing.
I'm familiar with the volume.
That they do most of their locations on their TV shows like Mandalorian and those others, Andor, and so you have some practical pieces out in front or characters or whatever, but then everything is actually being put up on the volume, this big screen. And it's amazing because it's also tied to the camera. So they can make that move and it looks like the camera's moving, or they can move the camera and the POV on the screen actually changes to take into account all that motion. So it's all tied together with excellent computing power. I mean, it must just be awesome. And so what they let us do, two at a time, they would let us walk onto the volume and get a little short video taken of us in front of the volume. And in this case, we were in a big hangar with TIE fighters, and there were two TIE fighter pilots standing there. They were actually physically there.
They were physically there.
And it was so fun. So they shot about a 10-second spot of us standing, and we were there in that hangar. In that thing.
I have that video. Let me show the video and you can talk more about it.
Okay, there's no audio, so.
Yeah.
So all of that is projected. We are not there. I mean, it's behind. The people are there, the two TIE fighters, but the rest of it is on that.
Isn't that amazing?
Yeah.
It's like you were saying, now the background and the camera are working as a unit. Mark is a senior engineer over at
Red Digital
Cinema. Brag about you? What's that?
Red Digital Cinema.
Red Digital Cinema.
Cool.
And
motion picture cameras that are used for Mandalorian and many Disney films and National Geographics are filmed with our cameras. Now, one thing I wanted to mention to people listening, POV means point of view. In case you didn't know that.
And the camera was amazing. It was on a boom. So
It was
the boom
huge.
itself had all the several degrees of motion, retracting, extending, up, down, wherever. And all of that on top of a camera platform on the end of it that was also servo driven to look, a lot of different motions that it could make. And so now the director can work with the techs on that and get exactly what they want from the camera. And so it's all computer driven then, and they have the shot established before they shoot, so that now it makes the best use of the actor's time and, helps them do something like The Mandalorian within the budget they have for TV, which is nothing like film.
Now, you guys, I'm sure, have Disney Plus.
Yes.
Have you seen The Gallery?
No.
It's a series all about how they make The Mandalorian.
Oh, okay.
And they show there's a lot of footage of that's why I had heard of the volume, because they discuss it. John Favreau's on there, and all the people that are directors and actors in the show. And I'm sure you guys would enjoy it. Just like I said, there's essentially only one season. It says 3 seasons, but each season's only 1 episode, the second and third.
Oh, yeah. So another thing that we did there, which was a lot of fun, is they had a session in the theater of on the big theater there at the expo. They were honoring Richard Sherman, who is no longer with us.
Yeah.
And they had guests coming on and off and talking about their relationship to Richard. And there was the sons of both of them there, Richard Sherman and his partner, his brother,
Robert.
It was interesting because there was a split in the family for some reason, and they've only just recently come back together. So it was kind of interesting seeing them together.
Growing up, they were real tight. Every holiday was together, everything else. But then something happened in the brothers. There was unfortunately that split, and then they came back. The kids brought the families back together. But
yeah, when they made that movie, The Boys, is mainly when they got back together.
Right.
Sure.
When they made that.
One of the sessions they had was Jon Favreau and forget who the other Marvel person. Oh, yeah, it was the head of Marvel. Yeah, Feige. He was there, and they were talking about the time that they were going to shoot the second Iron Man, and they needed a song for the scene where Tony Stark's father is doing that show, and so they went to Disney to say, who could we get? And they said, well, would you like the Sherman Brothers? And Pro and Feige were just,
Could we get him?
They were amazed that they could get him. So the Sherman Brothers wound up doing that little bit of the movie, and they played that for us, and it was pretty interesting. It was fun.
Well, one thing I really enjoyed when I went to the first couple is that I got to see a lot of these legends still alive.
Doing their thing,
I got to sing Small World with Richard Sherman playing the piano. I got to meet Extensio. I got to meet Alice Davis.
Oh, there we go.
Cool. Never met Dick Van Dyke. He was never there at any of the ones I went to. You would think he would have been there at one of the D23s, but none of the things. I think he was there for one thing, but I was interested in something else, so I went to the other thing. So
well, what he was doing is he was signing, and we were in a very long line, and so I was on oxygen, and by the time I got up front, I was not feeling well, and so I just sat down on the floor, and we were at the front of the line. I sat down on the floor, and he saw me, and he got up, and he got all his barbershop people were there, and they got up and they sang a couple of songs so I could rest. And then he came back, and then I was able to go up and get him to sign. He signed my Mary Poppins poster.
Oh,
and at that
that's
time,
wonderful.
I'll show you what a fan Debbie is. At that time, she was still on oxygen.
I know.
And I had fixed her up a little suitcase that would hold 2 of the bottles of oxygen so that she could, close it up and connect the cannula. And it was a R2D2 suitcase, about yay high. And Debbie, what'd you name it?
O2D2.
That's clever.
He's a keeper, Dan.
Lifelong fan.
You can tell she's a writer.
Yeah. But tell him about Haley Mills and Leslie Ann Warren.
Oh, yeah, that was great. They brought on Leslie Warren to talk about his relationship with them and Richard Sherman. And, it was a touching story. And then they brought out they wanted to talk about Parent Trap. So Haley Mills was there. So she came out. And so there were Lauren out. There they were. And they started talking about the songs from Parent Trap that the Sherman brothers wrote. So they asked her, well, do you think you could sing it for us? And she said, I wouldn't do that. Couldn't do that because, there was 2 of us singing that song, and it was me singing along with me. And they look over at Leslie Ann Warren. And so
let's get together. Yeah. That's the song.
Yeah, so they pulled her in, and so they did the duo.
Aww.
And she still looks exactly like that. Leslie Ann Warren hasn't aged. She's a vampire or something. I don't know what's going on.
Well, there's a CD out there you guys might like. It's called Poppin' Guitars. Oh. And it's the music of the Sherman brothers. And Richard signed the CD for me.
Oh, cool.
So I've got that. But it's really good music. It's got Let's Get Together on it.
Yeah.
You're 16, You're Beautiful in Your Mind, and different songs that I think he wrote one of them called You're 16, but there's like 3 of them, and I'm not sure which one he wrote. I don't remember, but he wrote one of them.
Okay. Well, did he write Sound of Music? I can't remember because
I don't think so. I think that was somebody else. But he wrote Chitty Chitty Bang Bang. He wrote
all Mary Poppins, didn't he?
Oh yeah, him and Robert wrote all the stuff for Mary Poppins.
Those were amazing songs. Yeah.
Well, one of the things they talked about at this event for Richard Sherman was they were talking about the personalities of the 2, and they were kind of opposites in that, and they really didn't have a good relationship at that point in time when they were writing all these wonderful things. And one of them would come in and say, I think for this, what we need to do is blah, blah, blah. And the other one would say, no, that's
the stupidest thing I've ever seen.
Way. And then, 5 minutes later, he'd go back in the room and say, wait, yeah, how about this? And then they go and do it. Both of them would tell the other one, no, we can't do that. But somehow the chemistry.
I think that was a very good lesson for creative people. If there's creative people out there, like writers or whatever. Yeah. And that's like whenever you turn down an idea outright, just keep it in your head anyway, even if you think it's wrong, because it may end up becoming right, or you may be able to tweak it to become right. You know, Paul and I talk story all the time, and sometimes he'll give me an idea and I'm like, no.
She'll say, no, you write it.
That too. That's a different. That's when he comes up with like science fiction things that too complicated for me. But you know, sometimes I don't like his idea, but then after it's been able to percolate a little bit, I might be able to twist it and make that idea work.
Make it your own, yeah.
I think we need to hook Paul up with Preston.
Yeah, there you go.
Preston
Dillett. He writes UFO books.
Oh,
that's up Debbie's alley, actually.
Yeah, it is right up my alley.
Yeah, he's been our guest on our old podcast a couple of times. Now, one thing so I don't forget, are you guys members of the cast member alumni group?
Nope.
No.
We've never been cast members.
Well, you don't have to be. You could just be a fan now, because they've lost so many of their group that they're trying to keep it going by allowing people in. I joined it last year, and all of their events are just great.
Oh, wow.
What's the name again?
The Cast Member Alumni Group. There's a website.
Okay.
The one I got to see Garner Holt. He came and gave a presentation of all of their stuff. Then I went to one with Bill Cotter. I don't know if you're familiar with Bill Cotter, but he's on most of the behind the attractions videos on Disney Plus. He's usually because he's worked with Disney, and he was a Disney photographer for a long time. So he gave a presentation about the World's Fair.
Oh, yeah. You
and
know,
all the rides that came from that.
When we had annual passes back a lifetime ago, I got an email one time asking me if I would be interested in doing this event that they were doing during Christmas, when they have that big Christmas thing. And it was like $2,000 for the two of us to do it. But we did it. And what it included was 2 nights at the Grand Californian, dinner. We had special seating at the big thing, and Gary Sinise was doing the narration that year. We had special, and they gave us this backpack with a blanket. It was cold, a blanket in it, and hot chocolate in a thermos and cups. We each got one. And then we got special place to stay for the parade with hot chocolate and little desserts and things. And then the next morning, we got up and we got to go to the park before it opened.
At 6 a.m.
6 a.m. And throughout the park in different areas, they had, you explain it.
It was really awesome, because the group of us wasn't all that big. It was maybe,
and they split us up,
30 people, 40 people or something. But they split us up into different groups. And they had I forget how many, at least 6, maybe more, Disney legends who helped build the park. Give us a talk. And so we would go to one of their rides, and they'd be standing there. And one group, we would be doing that, while the other groups were, over.
One would be at Space Mountain, while one was at Pirates of the Caribbean, while one was someplace else.
And so they would give us the little talk about that ride and what it was like back then in 1955 when they were building this thing. And I mean, these were not second tier guys. These were the guys.
These were the legends.
Yeah, these were the ones that built the place.
So. And then after that, we got to tour Walt's apartment.
Above the above the fire station there.
I got to tell you, I'm getting goosebumps just talking about it. It was just one of the best experiences that we've had with Disney, and they don't do that sort of thing anymore. It's just really kind of sad, and
well,
but yeah.
Bringing up Walt's apartment, I got to ask you this before we go away. Let me see something here real quick. I want to bring this up before I ask. Okay, we talked about this earlier. What do you guys think of this idea?
Oh, I don't think it's a good idea at all. Why would they do that? I mean, there's so much on record already of, World of Disney and all those things that Walt did, of him speaking to us, speaking to his audience. They could put together something like that. We don't need an animatronic. And I heard that while they went to Roy's family and asked them if they liked it, and they all thought it was a good idea, but they failed to talk to Walt's family, who are in opposition to the whole idea. They don't want to see their father, grandfather, done like that. I mean, there's no reason to do it.
And of course, I grew up with Walt talking to me every Sunday.
Yeah.
And he is so charismatic and personable. And people would be, you don't need the animatronics, just put together a film of him.
If you want to redo Lincoln, fine,
there are lots of presidents.
Yeah.
Well, they are redoing Lincoln.
Yeah.
By the way, that's part of this, redoing Lincoln.
Yeah. But this may be a corporate decision that has nothing to do with anything, but giving people something to do where they can get through and keep them off the big rides, while they do something else. And I'm sure that's where it is now. The gift shop, you exit through the gift shop. So,
yeah.
Well,
all right. Well, we're getting. I'm sorry.
That's the rebuild of Haunted Mansion is for the main reason of exiting you through a gift shop.
Yeah.
Well,
my only thing that I would change in the Haunted Mansion is the ravens.
Yeah, he hates the ravens. They're so cheesy looking.
They don't look very good.
They look a little tired at this point.
being a larger person, I wish they'd get rid of that stupid turnstile they've got at the exit. That old turnstile that you have to turn sideways to squeeze through. I don't know why they've got that thing there.
Oh, no. But I have to say, I love exiting through gift shops. I'm all for putting gift shops at the end of rides because I love it.
I love merch. Well, my friends, we are at the top of the hour, and it means we got to let you guys go. But thank you so much for being with us. This has been such fun.
Next time you do something fancy, come back and see us.
You bet.
Yeah, absolutely. And we will. I guess you want to end the recording, Mark, and
yep, we'll go into my closing audio, and I'll shut us all down. Then you guys hang around. We'll say goodbye. Okay, here we go.